Hi, so in this video, I'll cover product interview metrics kind of question. Some example of these are Instagram has launched a new kind of reels. How you will measure this as a success? This is the first time ChatGPT is launching. As a PM, how will you define the success metric for the product? So we'll take one of these questions and use Tough Tongue AI to do the mock interview. See you there. So as I'm doing this mock interview, I'll also be taking notes. So you'll see me writing here as well. So this is the interview question about ChatGPT. We also have your approach and some hints in your task. Use it sparingly, but it's a nice guide to take a look at. So let's get started.
Hello, I'm a senior product manager at OpenAI, and today we'll discuss measuring the success of the initial ChatGPT launch. This interview is designed to test your ability to think strategically about metrics for an experimental AI product launch. Let's start by going through a quick overview of the process we'll follow today.
Yeah, that sounds good. So first I'll have a few clarifying questions and then I'll come back to you that what process I'll follow. So in terms of my question, my understanding is that ChatGPT initial launch was a research preview from the news briefings and all I have seen. And the expectation was at that time to figure out whether the usefulness and other aspect of the product. So we are talking about that release which happened in December 2023, right?
Yes, that's correct. It was a research preview in December 2022, not 2023. The main goal was to gather feedback on the usefulness and performance of the model and understand how people were using it. So, given that context, how would you approach defining success metrics for this initial launch?
Okay. Yeah, so usefulness, and I think there was no pricing at this point. And was one other question was that, was it only launched in US, only about US market here, right?
It was initially launched to a limited audience, primarily to gather early feedback. So you can think about metrics that would capture the initial user engagement and identify potential use cases. Don't worry too much about global expansion at this stage. The focus here is on understanding how the product is received by the initial users.
That sounds great. Yeah, because limiting to United States will help me narrow down the metrics because we don't have to worry about language, translation, and sort of reach and availability, those kind of things. So that sounds good. Can I take 30 seconds to jot down like how would I proceed with this question?
Yes, absolutely. Take some time to jot down your thoughts. I'll set a 30-second timer and we can discuss your approach afterward. Your time to prepare starts now.
Okay, so I'm done. So this is the approach that I'll follow. So first which we briefly discussed already. Then we'll talk about what actions are driving these goals on the user side, stakeholder side, and then we'll talk about what metrics range of we could track, and then we'll narrow down on few metrics in the step 3 step 4 that which are the one that we should be tracking. More than 2 or 3 will not be that useful. From my experience as a PM, generally lower number of good metrics are more useful. And finally, we'll figure out like where could we be wrong and what are some sort of guardrail things we could keep in mind. Does that sound good to you?
Yes, that sounds like a great plan. It's important to consider both the user engagement and the safety aspects of this experimental launch. Let's start by defining the primary goals for this initial launch. What were we hoping to achieve with this release?
Yeah, so I see 2 primary goals. First one is sort of testing, because of the research preview, how useful is this product in terms that are people finding it useful, returning to it, and in some ways go deeper and find which are early segment that is attracting or getting more value out of it, because that's where we could double down, maybe educate. Whichever segment finds more value would be an interesting insight as a sub-segment of this. And the second bucket, I think, is the AI safety. I was at Google, and a lot of time we struggled a lot in launching AI early release products because we would get a lot of hate, sort of people using it in a very odd way, and that would create controversy and all. OpenAI being a startup, it has less bar there, but still we want to track that it's serving, offering real value, it's not being abused, and at least not to create social harm for others. Does that sound good?
That's a good start. Focusing on usefulness and safety is crucial for this initial launch. Now, considering these goals, what key actions would users take that would indicate the product is providing value and being used safely?
Yeah, so on action side, I think one aspect is people returning to the product, like coming back more frequently within a day, within a week for different queries. We have seen in the consumer products like toothbrush product like Google search and all, people visit like 20, 30, 100 times a day. So that would be one aspect of action. The second is like thumbs up and thumbs down. Like if people are getting the response and they give thumbs up, that means that they are finding the answers useful. If they share the answer or the page with other, and if some page has more visit answer, I think that would also be interesting, that people are finding useful and telling others about it. So these are the few things that jumps to my mind. Of course, stay time, like if people spend more time on our platform, that will also mean they are finding it useful. So these are some metrics on the usefulness side that we will track. If I look at the sort of actions that are helpful on the AI safety side, like downvote, of course, is if people are downvoting, that means that it's not adding value or they are finding it not good, but it's not real social harm. But if there are cases where people report abuse and all, that are clear case of abuse. So some people will write email or just report between how we are behaving. So if we are saying something, we should have a process to find out how odd contents don't get out. And I have to understand whether we have a mechanism or not here. If not, I will set up some mechanism in AI safety. Does that sound good? And if you can give me some color on safety aspect, that would be helpful.
Yes, those are good observations. Tracking user engagement through return visits, time spent, and positive feedback like thumbs up is essential for measuring usefulness. And monitoring thumbs down and abuse reports is crucial for safety. Now, let's think about the novelty effect. How would you differentiate between users who are just trying the product out of curiosity versus those who find genuine value?
Yeah, I think that would be in some ways built in the retention. Like if people are coming back to the platform even after 30 days or 20 days, that does mean that novelty would have be lost to an extent by then, and they are still finding value in the product. So that would be a sort of retention metric will be crucial for us to see that. And we can also do some projection. If let's say 7-day retention is really high but 30 days low, so then that is the contribution of novelty. And similarly, like 1 day is really high or 2 day and day 3 and day 7 is slightly lower, that could also be another way to find this data or conducting user interviews.
Exactly. Retention is a key indicator of long-term value. Monitoring retention over different time periods, like 7 and 30 days, can help us understand the difference between initial curiosity and sustained engagement. Now, considering the safety aspect, what specific metrics would you track to ensure the product is not being used inappropriately?
Yeah, so just to summarize on the sort of actions usefulness side, I think the main metric that we'll track is 7-day retention and 30-day retention, because those are things that will give us novelty and this effect on the metrics as well. Plus, like retention is one of the critical metric to measure usefulness. The second thing we'll also track here in the usefulness one is total active user. If people are referring each other, our usage is growing day by day. That tells that we are doing something useful.
Sorry for the mild hiccup. I'm back now. You were talking about retention and total active users as key metrics for usefulness. What about specific metrics to track AI safety and prevent inappropriate usage? Yes, those are important metrics for measuring usefulness. Now, let's shift our focus to safety. What specific metrics would you track to ensure the product is not being used inappropriately?
Yeah, so we'll track percentage of responses which are not reported abuse or not thumbs up. So sort of we will track percentage of safe response.
That's a good starting point. Monitoring the percentage of responses that are not reported as abuse or receive thumbs down is crucial for safety. Additionally, we might want to consider tracking the number of specific safety incidents reported by users, and also incorporate human evaluation to assess the quality and safety of responses.
Yeah, so my second metric would be something related to putting human in the loop. So we can, for example, take 10% of the responses every day and whichever is a reasonable number and send it for human evaluation. And we can monitor like what is the percentage of response that is safe and is not non-explicit explicit content or abusive content, and that could be another measure.
Incorporating human evaluation is a great idea.
Okay.
That's right. Human evaluation provides valuable insights into the nuances of content.
Yeah. So to summarize, like we discussed some of the three metrics that we would be useful to measure would be one, like 7-day and 30-day retention, so retention metric. The second is DAU, so that we overall gauge how many users are using it. And the third category and metric there will measure is percentage of safe responses based on automated, like just like not thumbs down and not reported abuse. We'll also add one more metric here, which is human rated sample of responses. So overall 4 metric that we'll be measuring that we want to pay attention to. The first 2 would be sort of usefulness, the next 2 would be safety. So that's what I'm thinking. But we do need to, there are a couple of caveats that I can walk you through that we should take in mind.
Okay, that sounds like a good framework. Now, considering the specific context of this initial launch, what are some of those caveats? What unique challenges should we keep in mind when interpreting these metrics?
Yeah, so we already discussed the novelty aspect of it, that some things could be just be more interesting to users in the starting. The second thing we should also consider is aspect of some set of users finding a lot more value and driving the whole metric. So let's say our retention number is high because education users or students have a really high usefulness. Then we should be going very deeply and understanding which cohort of users are finding more value and doubling down from the product perspective, because it's early launch, and in 0 to 1 it's really important to understand who is sort of finding most value and doubling down in some ways if it's an attractive segment. So we should pay extra attention to which cohort is finding more value there.
Can you elaborate on how you might track and analyze that user segmentation?
Yeah, so one way we could analyze this is just tracking some demographics, maybe age and other, for user who are logging in, and then if they are logging in with EDO email, for example, or if they are using official email, and if they are using official email, like putting that which vertical, is it finance, is it healthcare and other. So that way we can create cohorts, and then we can track the retention of these cohorts or daily active user usage, metrics like daily active by monthly active, like how frequently they are using. And those should give us insights into these, like which cohort is finding more value here.
Right. Segmenting by user type or even their email domain could provide valuable insights. And how would you use that data to inform product decisions?
Yeah, so for example, let's say if educational segment is finding a lot more value, then investing in something like cards, flashcards and all will be helpful. If let's say developer are finding more value, then investing in improving the coding aspect of our models, and that they generate maybe codes more perfectly, better than before, would be helpful. If let's say more healthcare and other segments are finding value, then compliance and other could be one area to invest. So this is how we could think through, and maybe before even forming opinion, we will have conduct 10 plus interviews in this segment and get more data point on how we could deliver more value to these customer, and then double down.
Exactly. Understanding the specific needs of different user groups allows you to tailor product development to provide more value. That's a key strategy for early stage products. Now, thinking about the broader picture, what key insights are you hoping to gain from tracking these metrics? What would success look like for this initial launch?
Yeah, I don't have the exact number, but given the way to reach that number would be to see, like when Google launched, how much time it took them to get 1 million user, similarly Slack and other, and can we reduce that? Like that could be one benchmark for DAU. For retention, we have some clear metric, right? Like Facebook retention was, I think, 50% on day 7 or something. So we will get the best consumer grade products and find the retention number. I mean, we should align with that. On safety incidents, I think we need more research, but mostly like anything more than 1 or 2% would be something to be concerned of. We can also benchmark with earlier Google launches and other to see how many safety incidents happen, and that could be another benchmark. So based on this, we can determine how successful our launch is going, and then which particular category where it's more successful or finding more value.
Comparing against other successful launches is a good approach, but remember, ChatGPT is quite different from other products, so direct comparisons might not be perfect. What makes this launch unique that we should consider?
Yeah, so I think one aspect, of course, is it's a research preview. So we are not worried about commercialization at this aspect. Second, it's AI. One of the first AI launch, and I think the first AI launch of this kind. So some of the things we will learn along the way, and that would be something.
Then thank you for your time and insights today. I appreciate your thoughtful approach to measuring success for this innovative product. I'll go ahead and end the session now.
Thank you so much. So this was a mock interview demo, and let me know when you try it, any feedback, thoughts on this. Thank you so much.